Okay, so in this episode, I thought we'd go over what it's going to take to get you set up in a hosted environment. We've already covered the .NET Nuke installation part, and this is the kind of the precursor stuff that you need to do prior to running the .NET Nuke installation. So I've listed out 5 steps here. One is to purchase a domain name, and purchasing a domain name can be done through GoDaddy.com. Excuse me. OneCheapDomains.com. And then there's also the more expensive, but been around for a long time, NetworkSolutions.com. And there's plenty of more others out there. And I think that if you go with GoDaddy.com, your price ranges in between like $10 and $12. Your next step is to set up an account at ZoneEdit.com. And what that does is it allows you to manage where your domain name points to, where your physical server is located. So it'll allow you to redirect the traffic that's destined for your domain name to a physical server. Number 3 is we actually go back to where we created our domain name or where we purchased our domain name, and you're going to point it to zoneedit.com, and I'll show you all these really quickly. And then finally, choose your provider, and we'll go over what we're looking for in that hosting provider. And then finally, you'll be uploading your files and then going back to the installation videos to work through the installation. Logged in, I've purchased my domain diydnn.com at onecheapdomains.com, and I think I paid like $9.95 or something like that. Pretty standard, but this is what the interface looks like when you come in to modify your DNS, and we'll actually be back on the screen in just a second. I want to show you ZoneEdit. When you go to ZoneEdit, you can actually create a free account. So, and that free account will allow you to manage up to 5 domains. Once you've done that, you can actually create your IP. You can point your domain name to a particular IP address. This is where your physical server is located, and that will be provided by your hosting provider. So, but if we look at our domain details again, ZoneEdit provides you with 2 name servers for your domain. In this case, I have ns4.zoneedit.com and ns8. And what we want to do is we want to go back to where we purchased our domain and plug in this DNS information. So this wasn't here before. I had to delete what was here and then add each one of these individually. And once you've done that, it knows to direct traffic to your domain. And it might take a little bit of time because it's got to propagate through the internet. But then whenever somebody goes to anything diydnn.com, it's going to point it over to these name servers to find out how that domain name can be resolved. And from there, we identify where our physical server is located. So if you want to learn more about this, you can just do a search on DNS or domain name server, and you could learn more about how this actually works. But that's all you need to get up and running at that point. And from there, we can go on to the next step. The next step is choosing your hosting provider. So obviously, there's some minimum requirements for what you're looking for in your hosting provider. 1, it should be a Windows server. 2, you should have SQL Server support and at least 100 megs. And I don't think that's a problem these days. I think you get at least a gig with most of your hosting options. You might have to pay a little bit extra for it. And then finally, support for ASP.NET. These days, if it's a Windows server, it's going to have support for it. So, kind of a non-issue. So there's 2 options for choosing a hosting provider. We'll start with the shared hosting environment. In a shared hosting environment, you're actually sharing a single server and the resources of that server with a lot of different clients, and sometimes even hundreds of clients, depending on the server. The only problem that I see with that, and that I've experienced with that, is whenever there's a problem with somebody else's website, it seems to affect yours, whether it be in taking away resources or crashing some process while your site is running, and just causes all kinds of issues. So I've always wanted to have a dedicated server, but unfortunately the costs were quite expensive. That is until they came out with virtual servers. So the next option you see here is a VPS, a virtual private server, which is taking advantage of the virtualized servers. And what that allows you to do is, or allows them to do, is allows them to take a slice of the server, CPU resources, memory, and hard disk space, and allocate that to your slice of a server. So it's your own dedicated server in a sense, just utilizing a single server's resources and splitting it up. So it's really nice because you have full control. You own everything on that server. And the only thing you need to be concerned about is your backups and your protection, firewall protection. So 2 things I would look for in a VPS is make sure that they have some sort of firewall protection and that they're providing you with nightly backups. Other than that, you should be good. I really recommend a VPS over the shared hosting environment. The only thing is the cost. In a shared hosting environment, I mean, those could be as low as $5 to $10 a month. And VPS will run you 24 to like 40 or 50 a month. I think I pay about 35 a month or something like that. But I have added some resources. And that's the nice thing about it too, is as you grow and as you expand, you can just add disk space, you can add resources, and all they do is they just allocate that additional resources to your slice, and there's no having to rebuild or move servers or anything like that. So I think that's pretty much it. Of course, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer them. I'm positive I didn't cover absolutely everything to get you set up in a hosted environment, but this is everything that you need to get up and running. And so just going back here, one, you're going to purchase your domain name, and that's going to be like GoDaddy or Network Solutions. One Cheap Domains is where I got mine, so any one of those places. Then you're going to set up an account, a free account, at zoneedit.com. You're going to go back to where you purchased your domain and point it to the ZoneEdit name servers that you're provided with. Then you're going to choose your provider where you want to host your site. And finally, you're going to upload your files and then start the installation, at which point I'd go back to those installation videos and just follow those. So I hope this was informative, and again, if you have any questions, let me know. Be happy to answer them. Thank you.